Within a week, COVID-19 usurped all semblance of your hospital's normalcy. A deficit in isolation gowns and face shields resulted in dozens of clinicians calling out sick with COVID symptoms. One intensivist lay intubated in her own ICU. Each day, another department dissolved into a COVID unit. Neurology, cardiology, even pediatrics blurred into COVID. Any patient presenting to the emergency room with non-viral symptoms was quickly turned away or redirected to the hospital ship USNS Comfort docked in New York Harbor. Physicians' offices converted into negative pressure rooms to treat patients, and operating room nurses trained to treat bedside. You overheard an attending pulmonologist tell the charge nurse that the number of COVID-positive admissions increased by 20% every day, and that the shipment of a half-dozen ventilators from the local animal hospital relieved only a minuscule amount of pressure. Within your department of rehabilitation, therapists not working with COVID patients were redeployed to assist elsewhere. The following week, while several of your friends fielded phone calls from distraught family members, ran blood products to patient rooms, or transported bodies to the morgue, you were meeting Mrs. Matilda Brown. "What now?" she groans. You note the indents of the nasal cannula on her skin between nostril and ear. "My name is Dylan. I am from the physical therapy." "Can't hear. You're wearing a goddamn spacesuit." Her furrowed brows beneath pink headscarf remind you of Frida Kahlo. You step closer and introduce yourself. You outline the importance of mobility and strengthening her lungs as they battle with the virus. Mrs. Brown offers you your favorite excuse. "I'm too weak for physical therapy," she dismisses with a wave of her bruised hand, a capped IV taped to her wrist. "That's what I want to help you with," you counter. "It's my job to help you strengthen your muscles and improve your breathing. Staying in bed all day is the worst thing you can do right now." "No thanks, sweetie. Not today." According to her chart, 70-year-old Mrs. Brown developed dry cough and shortness of breath 12 days prior. When she could no longer stand up from the couch without huffing, her son drove her to the emergency department. A doctor admitted her and prescribed supplemental oxygen. In the weeks since, all attempts to wean Mrs. Brown to room air had failed. She had not left her bed while the virus wreaked havoc on her respiratory, circulatory, and gastrointestinal systems. That was where you came in. Overnight, you had become a Band-Aid physical therapist. Get him strong enough to walk 25 feet without passing out. This was the new standard. If patients could do this, then they could return home, and one of the hundreds of overflow patients awaiting beds in the newly erected circus tent outside of the emergency department could be admitted. So you have to push back a little. You recall a line from the social worker's assessment and Mrs. Brown's chart and decide to play it up. "I hear you're quite the singer," you say. "Who do you hear that from?" she replies with a side eye. "Your son told the social worker about church choir. You'll need to strengthen those lungs of yours before you get back to it." "That evil boy," she mutters, but she is grinning. You think you've won, but still no. I'm too tired, and church is closed anyways. Maybe tomorrow, sweetie. If this were a month ago, you'd accept her offer in order to salvage the rapport. In the moment, however, you're cognizant of how the hospital has rationed the scant personal protective equipment. The thought of wasting an isolation gown on a patient's refusal is gut-wrenching. So you press upon your left forearm, and the magic of the black orchid fills you like sunshine. When my mom calls me sweetie, it's not a term of endearment. It's a poison-tipped arrow. This makes her laugh, which snaps something. Boy, you are persistent, Mrs. Brown says. Fine, you can walk me to the toilet, but only because I can't take more of the goddamn bedpan.